3rd, 1989. We are at the Good Samaritan home in Sanford.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's recording now.
Really, you just punch the right button and tell us all about Good Samaritan home.
Okay. This is the Good Samaritan home, and I'm Ruby. I'm the assistant administrator. We're located at 1704 West 9th Street in Sanford. The Good Samaritan home was established in 1946 by my grandparents, Mother Ruby Wilson, and Grandfather Timothy, they call him Pappy Wilson. And I've been with the home about 4 years now. My mother, who's the administrator, has been here 25 years. She came over and started with my grandmother, and then after my grandmother passed, she had my grandfather there in the place, and after my grandfather passed, I left the Good Samaritan house. No, Samaritan Community College and came to work with her. The Good Samaritan home is an adult congregate living facility, and we provide food, clothing, and room and board shelter for the aged and disadvantaged who are not able to take care of themselves at home, but who are not at the point that they need continual nursing care.
Miss Rachel was telling us how this started with your grandmother going out and seeing the need and even selling pencils on the street. How did the financing come about after that?
We are now a United Way agency. We're not state supported. We're not government supported. We work primarily on the income from the residents who live here and donations from foundations and from churches and from the United Way. My grandparents didn't want to accept financial help from government agencies because then they have to, when the government agency gives you money, they dictate on who you can take in and who you can't take in. And she wanted to be able to help whoever needed it. So therefore, we would not accept that, and we try now not to accept any financial help from government, so that we can take whoever and whomever needs the help. That's right. And we take them regardless of whether they are able to pay or if they aren't able to pay. We take them if they need care, they take them.
You have a board of directors, or?
Yes, it was incorporated, I think, in 1950. I'm not sure of the exact date of the incorporation. And we do have a board of directors that is comprised of the citizens of Seminole County. And we have, I think, 2 now that live in Orange County who assist us, and that board is very active in assisting and getting support for the home through the donations from, like I said, we've got a lot of church groups that have made us their pet project, and even Senator Lawson Giles came down once to walk through the facility and visited with my grandmother. So that home is very well known, and we haven't had at this point to go against the wishes of my grandparents and to accept, government.
That is certainly great. Now let's want to see if we really got that.
Last year, I remember they said they would just give a donation. I don't know at what time, but sometime they give us.
Well, it's been a well-known Good Samaritan home, and Mother Wilson's been a big
It's well-known all through this
Rachel,
area.
tell it.
County, Lake County.
Right. Tell us your name, and when you went out to the old folks' home, and then we're going to get Mr. Jones to do the same.
My name is Rachel Lee. I came to Sanford in 1940 and went out to the county home. And they had a 10-bed infirmary out there, and I was a registered nurse, and they wanted a nurse, so I went out there in 1940, the 6th day of July. And I stayed there until I retired from out there in 1962.
How long was Mr. Willie Jones there?
He was there when I went there in 1940, and I don't know how long he had been there, but he was there when I went there in 1940. Very active then, but he was on a crutches, but he milked the cows every day. Walked to that barn and milked the cows every day. And that's right.
That was his
They
job.
couldn't bring the milk up. The maid or some of the trustees from the camp would bring the milk
But
up.
he knew how to
Can you
milk.
remember that?
Can,
Uh-huh.
but
Do you
can,
remember that? Can you tell us
can he
that?
hear us?
He can tell you.
Tell us about milking the cows.
Brother Jones, they want you to tell about when you used to have to work, and when you was milking the cows out to the county.
Yeah.
You know what I said?
Yeah.
The lady wants you to tell about when you was out there and you milked the cows and everything.
Yeah.
Tell her. Tell her.
Ask him how many cows.
How many cows did you have to milk?
Well, most would be 5.
You did it alone? Did you milk the cows all by yourself?
Well, most time.
Did he
Most time I did.
run a sugar mill out there?
Cane meal
In the
made
morning and
molasses.
evening.
They made molasses
Got it
out
on the morning. Okay. He wants to know, did you run a sugar mill out there?
Caning.
Did you
Sugar
have,
cane.
Sugar
did you
cane.
have sugar cane out there?
Yeah, there is cane.
What else did they raise out there?
Well, there's beans, corn, and potatoes,
chicken.
Chickens.
things like that.
Chicken,
They have chicken,
Sure.
hog,
they
hog.
have hog.
He used
Sure,
to
it's hard.
he'd pick a half a dozen chickens when we were gonna have chicken.
What did they pull the sugar mill? How did they rotate the sugar mill pole? Sugar cane pole with a mule?
You had sugar? You make sugar?
Yeah.
Yeah, we made molasses.
Molasses.
He wants to know about the sugar cane. What did you do with the sugar cane that you raised?
Made molasses.
It made syrup.
How,
That's right.
how did they do that?
Ask them whether they had a mule or...
Did you have, how did you grind the cane?
Had a mill.
Yeah.
One of these old time mills. And they pushed a truck to it to pull it around. They used to have a mule,
Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't.
hitched a mule to it, but they didn't have that, so they'd use a truck.
That's right. We used to
And
go
then
out
you
and drink that
finish,
juice.
what you do with the juice?
Cook it, and make syrup.
That's right.
What did you cook it in?
A pot.
Pot. They had a thing that long.
60 had a 60-gallon pot, and 60 gallon, like 10 gallons of syrup.
Mm-hmm.
They'd get 10 gallons of syrup out of 60 gallons of juice.
Mm-hmm.
That was cooked.
That was good. That was good syrup.
Yeah, what did you like syrup and biscuits?
Oh yeah.
And we had plenty of it because we had cows and it churned every day, and we had plenty of milk and butter.
Milk.
And eggs too.
Eggs, had eggs whenever you wanted. We had our own chicken.
Tell us about what other food. Tell us about the food they ate out there. And did he like the meals? What kind of food did they eat?
She wants to know what kind of food did you all eat out there, and did you like the meals? She wants you to name the things that you had to eat. All the good foods.
All the good food.
All of it was good. Just tell her about it.
Yeah, well, I can't tell everything because
Just tell her what you remember about the cook and who cooked it and what did you raise and everything. Just tell her.
yeah, well, some of the cooks would cook different to others, but we had plenty to eat at all times, or whatever.
And it was good food.
It should.
Every day, every meal.
Did you have 3 meals a
We
day?
appreciate
3
it.
meals a day, and I mean plenty of it.
Who did they have a cook that?
They had a cook. The cook didn't live on the ground. She went and come every day, but she cooked 3 meals a day. And I mean, it was a plenty good
substantial.
Does he remember the cook? Does he remember the name of the cook?
Do you remember the name of the cook that was cooking out there at that time?
They had different ones.
Yes, I can remember some of the names.
You think you can remember one name?
Well, I can remember Olive Johnson. I can remember her. I can remember. Let's see who else.
Rachel, did all of you eat at the same time? So you had black and whites, I understand.
They
were
ate
separate.
at the same time, but they were in separate dining areas.
Okay.
They were separated. The colored had everything was segregated, but they all ate the same kind of food. They all had the same food,
You just sat with your own
just in
friends.
separate rooms.
Black and white.
10 years ago I talked to him, and he told me about a lot of names of superintendents. Ask him whether he can remember a superintendent.
Bro Jones, do you remember any of the superintendents that was out there over that at that time? Over the
I
penitentiary?
remember all of them.
That wasn't penitentiary.
What was
Old
it?
folks home.
It was old folks home. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Would you tell them some of the superintendents' names so that they can have it on tape?
Well,
Rachel?
in 1930,
40?
there was Roland Dan. He was superintendent. Well, he was there for quite a few years.
Clearwater.
Then after him came
M.H. Smith, wasn't it?
Yeah,
M.H. Smith.
right.
after him comes
Say Smith. Mr. Smith?
Smith?
Smith.
Was it Smith? Smith.
And then after Mr.
No. Smith come later on. And then
Rachel, when you...
after that, here comes
Let's see, Rachel,
That's
where
what
did
he
it...
told you.
Yeah,
You guys
Yeah,
know.
let's- Okay, let's pick up... Let's pick up where you remember the superintendent.
Well, when I went there in 40, M.H. Smith was the superintendent. He and his wife was the matron. But that was 1940.
Right.
And I don't know how many years he stayed there, but he
37 to 47. 37 to 47, according to his.
well,
We're just trying to check.
I know he stayed there quite a few years after I was there. And when he left there, he left the state. He went to Georgia, and that's where he died up in Georgia.
And who followed him?
And who followed Smith?
Hilton Brown.
Who?
Hilton Brown.
Hilton Brown. And we had one named Kramer. Did you get that? Kramer?
51.
Harry Kramer.
Harry Kramer, 51. He was 6.5 years. That was the longest anyone had been there. He told me. This is all his information.
I know it, because he know,
Yeah.
because he's there before I was.
Yeah, he just
But Harry's
Yeah.
dead now. Harry Kramer's dead, but I know he was there. He came in after Smith left.
And Willard Harrison from Sanford.
Yeah. Willard's living in Sanford now.
He was in the garage business.
Yeah, he still runs that garage. He's feeble, but he's running.
Is that right?
And John Scott with wife and 3 children.
Scott's living. Grady Scott.
Oh, is that who that was?
Grady Scott's running a
You got...
old repair auto shop out there.
Well,
Great.
that's Brady Scott, who was the brother
Brady.
of John.
Grady.
Yeah, well, first was John and then Brady.
Yeah.
Well,
Grady. I know that name. G-R-A-D-Y. Grady. Grady.
It was Grady instead of Brady.
Yes, yes, it was, because I know my father was.
And they were brothers.
Yes, sir.
Them Scots were brothers.
So we
The
got
last one was Preston Beal Sanford. Right?
Yeah.
Tell me why you laugh, Rachel. What about him?
He had 4 children.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Why do you laugh?
He didn't stay there long.
Why was that?
I don't know why, but he didn't. That wasn't the kind of job for him.
Oh,
He was a good man, but that wasn't.
Willie said here 10 years ago that one of his daughters served as a maid.
Yeah,
You remember that?
yeah, I remember. And he had 2 girls.
Rachel, what can you tell us about Willie's? You said he milked the cow. He was there probably before anybody else.
Well,
I mean, early before.
I don't think the others could milk
I
cows.
see.
They didn't know how to milk the cows. And he did. But he couldn't carry the milk on account of his affliction. But the maid or somebody would go down and bring the milk up. They would and take the bucket. But he knew all the cows by the name and everything. He could call those cows by name. He knew every one of them.
He told me that he and some others lived in a little wooden building.
They did.
About
That's
16 at the most at one time.
well, that was where all of the blacks
Yeah.
had to live, in the little
With
wooden building.
and a wooden stove.
They had a little wooden stove for heat,
Yeah.
but they ate up in the main building, but their dining room was separate from
Yeah.
the whites.
Right.
And
Well, was that little wooden building behind where your infirmary was?
you're right. Yeah, he was right a few steps away
Uh-huh.
and from the infirmary. Well, they tore it down, of course, from the infirmary to all the way.
Rachel, where was the road department in relationship to your infirmary?
It was right north,
North.
down below the car barn was the road department. The car barn was first here, and then below the car barn was the road department. Mr. Yarber and all of them kept the farm, the road equipment was housed down there. And you know they were keeping prisoners out there then.
Yeah.
They had
Where did they stay?
they stayed down there where the,
Beyond the road department, north of the road department?
yeah,
And what kind of building did they have? Was it a wooden building?
part of it was wood and part of it was brick.
Okay.
Brick building. And they had what they called trustees, you know, they could,
Yeah.
well, they worked on the farm and raised the cane and the garden, you know, the peas and things like that, whatever we,
You mentioned Mr. Yarborough. Was there anybody else's name that you remember in that road department?
I don't, let me see, the Dodd, I don't think
Mr.
Mr.
Dodd.
Dodd had anything to do with
Well,
the road.
he
because
he
was
was
a commissioner.
That's correct.
Yeah,
And
he was commissioner, but I don't think he had anything to do with it.
Well, I expect he came out there. Some of those, that was their, they were supposed to oversee the
Well,
road
I know he was out
Out
there
there.
a lot, because I never will forget, he had big feet like me.
He was a big
And
man.
yeah, he was a big man. I asked him one day where he got them shoes.
You went-
Yeah, this dog was something else. I know he would be down there, but he wasn't the road superintendent, but he was down there. And
You said, I think you once told about going down to the mailbox, picking up the mail every day. You waited for the mail delivery?
well, that was right in front of the
Yeah.
main building, where the museum is now. The mailbox
Yeah,
was
yeah.
right there.
Did Willie get some mail? You could pick up any of his mail in the box? Willie Jones.
Oh, well, the superintendent, all the mail was carried to his apartment, and he separated,
Yeah.
because he knew everybody, and he knew who's who, and he took care of the mail. My mail went there and all the rest, but the superintendent would issue the mail out to who it belonged to.
Okay, did he have his office in that little south sort of room there
Yeah,
next to his quarters?
the first little room,
Mhm.
first house, when you come in off 1792.
We know.
Yeah. Well, that first little building there to your right, that was the superintendent's quarters.
Yeah.
And the mailbox was right there. He could see when the mailman come. And but whoever got the mail carried it to him.
Yeah.
They didn't issue it. They carried it to him, and he issued it out to where it belonged.
Is that where the visitors came in, or somebody
That's right.
through his office?
That's right. The visitors should go in through his office. If they wanted to look the place over.
Then they had to walk through his apartment to get to the people that were living there, huh? His apartment was right next to that little office.
That's
So
right.
he had to walk through his apartment, huh?
Well, they didn't have to. If they wanted, he knew how to carry them around. If they wanted to see, they didn't have to go. They could just go around to that front porch
Yeah.
and go in and visit with the inmates. And then if they wanted to see the blacks, they'd go out to that little frame building.
Yeah.
On Sundays, they always had somebody from some of these churches would come. Nearly every Sunday would come out to
The whites and the blacks?
both to visit them all, the whites and the blacks. And
Rachel, did you feel there was any difference in the treatment to the whites and the blacks that were out there?
now, every once in a while, some of the, well, once or twice to my knowledge, some of the whites wanted to make a boo-hoo about, you know, the blacks, but they all ate the same. They didn't eat in the same place, but they ate the same food, and their clothes was washed in the wash house. All of them clothes was washed at the same.
Who did the washing of the clothes?
The maids. They had two maids for the infirmary and one for the home. They did that washing, and he ran the washing machine.
Well, he was a handy man around there.
He ran that washing
See
machine
if he
and
can
helped
tell
them.
us about that.
Huh?
See if he can get him to tell about that.
I wish you would. You know you used to do the washing out there. You remember that? Sure.
Did you have a washing machine?
What did he
What kind of machine was it?
Let Rachel say. Rachel, ask him what kind of tubs and what did he use to wash? What did they have?
They had a washing machine.
Okay, see.
They had a washing machine. But he ran it because girls didn't know how, they didn't understand it. And he ran it, he did the washing. And wrang them out and put them in the tub and they hang them up.
Oh, I see. Did he tell you why he was out there in the 1930s? Is he?
I never did know. I found him there and I never did ask him why and how. I know he told me he didn't have any relatives in the state. And I said, well, I don't either. I said, I don't have any here either.
He told me he had been working on a celery farm, I think, before he got there.
Yeah, and I didn't never know. I didn't go into questioning him, but I knew I'd find him there.
What about the rooms in the house, in the home there? Can you tell us anything about the different rooms where the people stayed?
Well, tell us what was in each room. What did everybody have? There was just one person to one room, right?
Right.
And they had a bed and
Maybe a table,
And a window.
Chair.
And a window.
a window, and a chair.
a chair. Did they have a little thing to put clothes in? Would there have been a little chest in there?
Some of them had drawers, chest of drawers, you know. And some of them had a mirror in the room, and all the bathrooms had a mirror. And some of them had a mirror in their room.
The people that were there, did they not have families around?
Well, some of them did.
Oh,
Yeah, plenty of them had families right here in Sanford. That's right. Plenty of them had families right here in Sanford and Oviedo. I know. Some white ones had families in Oviedo, one white family. And her son, she didn't have a husband, but her son brought her there, and he said, I never shall forget it, he said, well, he had gotten to the place he couldn't take care of her like she should be. And he hated to see her.
most of the, okay, you hit on a vital question there. she had no husband,
No.
and the son felt he could not take care of her. Is that how most of the people got there, because they had no one to take care of them?
Like, most of them got there like that. But some of them had people here. But the most of them were there because they had nobody to look after us.
About the same situation as today.
Right. They just didn't call it a nursing home,
Yeah.
and they had more, sounds like more freedom and more concern.
This is before the days of convalescent homes, so-called.
But I'm going to tell you what's the truth now, because I've experienced it. They need that kind of home right now.
Yeah.
They do. They'd be better off with it than would these nursing homes.
How does Good Samaritan stack up against, considering there are more people, does Good Samaritan come nearer being like that than these nursing homes
Right.
do?
It does. It comes more like it comes more like it. These nursing homes. I hope I don't have to go there, but I might have to go tomorrow. But I hope I don't.
Rachel,
I don't have a relative nowhere. I live alone. I got some nieces in Mississippi and Baltimore.
tell me again how old you are now, your age now.
I'm 91.
Oh,
I was 91 last September.
Ask Willie how old he is.
He's 91.
ah,
I can't remember.
And he'll be 92. How old are you?
Now,
Yeah.
well, in the night of 89, the next birthday.
You'll be 91. You'll be 91 next Wednesday.
yeah, that's right.
Because I'm from September to February older than he.
oh, how great, how great.
I could find that out in Florida. And see, I was 91 last September. He'll be 91 the 14th of this month, Valentine's
Ask
Day.
him where he was born.
Where were you born? Where were you born? Where were you born?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Memphis? What name? You were in Tennessee, but you don't remember what town.
Yeah.
I know he told me several times he's from Tennessee, but I don't know what the town.
Rachel, I think that if I brought them, I have your tape when you were about 84 years old or 83 years old when I came to your house.
Oh yeah, I was back in the 80s then.
I can't believe you're 91. You haven't changed very much.
Time slips so fast.
Yeah. Well, these bones tells me it's a different. It's a different, Lord, it's a difference, I'm telling you.
Let's go back. You were saying that nursing home was something we need now. Could you tell us just a little bit what made it so we could copy it today and have more of what you thought it had?
Well, there wasn't no carpets on the floor and all that kind of stuff. You had to mop the floors and mop the bed. But the treatment of the people is what counts. It's not the luxury I had. Those people were kept clean. They changed clothes every day, from bottom to top. But they had their own washing machine out there and they could wash them. It wasn't expensive, see. But they were clean, you see. And if the floor needed mopping, they had orderly and maid to do that mopping. It was kept clean and it wasn't expensive to do.
And you had good medical care if you were there, right?
And we had a doctor. And the doctor would come if he was called, and I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it. I didn't mind doing it because they needed care, and I was glad I knew what to do, and I just go on and do it.
That was county doctor, right?
Right, county doctor.
Who was that?
Who was Dr. Puliston one of them?
Puliston was when I went there, and then Dr. Bartz, O.L. Bartz. And he worked under Parks. You know Dr. Parks Sr.
Yeah.
Well, he put O.L. Bartz out there. And Bartz worked under him.
Parks.
But he makes his regular visit on Friday evening.
Well, the people have to be
sick to get him out there? He just came.
Well, he just come and check just to see how he go. See, the infirmary, those were sick out there, and he come and check them every week. And then if any of the inmates in their homes needed to see him, they come over to the infirmary and he sees them too while he was out there.
Was Dr. Bartz and Dr. Parks the last ones you worked under?
Yes. When I retired, Dr. Bart was in charge. And I give them this county commissioners, I give them 6 weeks notice that I was retiring. I said, I'm not leaving town, but I'm retiring. The day I'm 65, I'm going to hang up my cap.
Yes, Willie, what do you like most? What do you like to do out here most?
Brother Jones, what did you enjoy doing most out to the county home? What did you enjoy doing out to the county home? Of those things you were doing, like milking the cows and cleaning the chickens and shelling the peas and things. What did you enjoy most? And shaving those clean shaves.
Well, I enjoyed selling beans a lot.
Selling beans.
They raised lots of beans.
And you could sell them too.
And
Did you can? Did you can?
had okra. Raised a lot of okra.
Corn.
You had almost everything. Just everything. You want to eat it.
Shelling peas and beans, and cleaning chicken. Get them fellas off the chicken.
Had a watermelon factory, red watermelon.
I don't know.
How many sheep?
No sheep, steak, cows, hogs.
How many?
We didn't have no sheep. We glad we didn't.
Yeah. Rachel, what did you think was good? You were telling us what was good because of the treatment. What was enjoyable among the people? What did they like? What did all of you like doing? You know, talking to each other, visiting, singing, or did you share work? What did everybody do that was there?
Well, they shared the work. I didn't have much time because I had to keep my records and my books and everything up. And then when I wasn't doing that, I squeezed orange juice to give the next morning.
Ask him about the orange grove there.
Oh. He remembered the orange grove.
Mm-hmm.
The orange grove. You remember the orange grove and the grapefruit?
Yes, indeed.
Satsuma?
Did he pick them? Pick them?
That's what he wanted to eat, that's all. You see, the county had sent somebody out there to pick them and sell them. And he just picked what he wanted to eat. And they were right there at the house, you see. The trees were right up to the yard.
We saw them last time,
And,
a couple of years ago.
yeah, we had sometimes some of them would pick a bucket of oranges and bring them over there for me to juice.
How about pecans?
They was out there too.
Yeah, they're still there.
And persimmons, the Japanese persimmons, we had those out there. But I don't know what they did to those trees, I guess.
Pecans are still there.
They are
Yeah.
good. And maybe the persimmons died. I don't know. But those were good. Those Japanese persimmons were good.
Was everybody fairly content or happy to be there?
I think so. Because they didn't have to be there. I mean, if they didn't want to stay, the superintendent would tell them, you go back where you come from. And if you don't want to stay, you just go where you came from. And you don't have to stay. This is no jail, other than you don't have to. But they were all glad and happy to stay there because they were getting good care. They're getting the clothes free, toothpaste, toothbrush, handed to them free. That's right. You didn't have to buy no soap to take a bath with. Didn't have to buy the towel. They give them the towel, give them the bedclothes. And they were living the life.
Did they like to sit in the parlor and talk a lot?
Yes. Some of them did enjoy sitting out there on the front porch.
Yeah.
They didn't have no parlor, but they had a living room with a piano in it over on the white side.
Well, that's what I mean, a big living room.
That's right. They had a piano in there. And they had comfortable chairs, rocking chairs. But they had a big porch, long porch. And they enjoyed sitting on that porch because they could see the highway, the traffic going.
Remember the big camphor tree out there?
Yes, it's still there.
I know.
I hope it stays there. Don't want to kill it.
Well, that made nice shade there.
They said it shaded the ground.
Kept the bugs away.
Yeah, it was a nice tree for shade.
Yeah.
Let me stop us.
Putting the stuff.
Oh. I worked on a farm.
Who's phone?
Whose farm? Whose farm?
That's Andrew Mahoney.
Andrew Mahoney. Where did he live?
Where was
Yeah,
it?
in Sanford.
He lived.
She got a celery farm. Ask him.
Was that a celery farm?
Huh?
Was that a celery farm?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Must have been out there on Celery Avenue.
He's veteran.
Hey, Rachel, see if he remembers anybody else. Who else was at that farm when he
Romaine.
got there? Romaine. What other people were at that old folks home when he went?
Pepper. There is Pepper, too.
Can you remember?
Bell Pepper.
Do you remember who was there when you went there? It was certain.
Oh, well,
Any of them's names. She was like,
F.M. Kidd, had been a school teacher.
Kid, F.M. Kid.
And, let's see who else.
How many? How many were there? How many?
How many? 1, 2, 3, 4 people? How many were there?
How many?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's quite a bunch. Sometimes it'd be as much as 45, and sometimes a little less. But there was always a good crowd.
White or black?
Both. Both.
Any other questions?
Well, they were starting the
Journals in. But from 40 to 50, that place was full.
That was the height of it. Then.
That's right.
40, that came to the 40 to the 50.
Yeah, then that was the height. And I mean, I had to bring them from the hospital. I had cancer, these terminal cases of cancer. I had them out there. That's right.
White and black.
White and black. That's right.
Rachel, did you know of any other county homes like that anywhere around? Did you ever hear of any other county homes?
I never did, and I was surprised. I never did. But I was, when they called it the county home, and Frances McDougal was, did you know her?
Yes, yes.
Well, she was, had charge of, she was the county nurse, I call her.
Right.
Had her office down there next to the old fire station.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to her about it, and I said, I never heard of a place like this. And she said, well, there ain't many of them nowhere like this and nowhere. She said,
There was one in Volusia behind where the present hospital is, and that was torn down when they built the hospital.
oh,
But I was just wondering if they knew, you know, since they were in that business, whether they knew of any others.
I didn't never know any, and I asked Miss Francis about it.
Mm-hmm.
She told me.
She didn't know. Well,